This is a skill saw. I have two different manufacturers in the shop, and I'll show you both. A skill saw is basically a motor with a blade attached to one side, and that's all it is. Basic parts: handle, trigger. You usually will not find a trigger lock on these. You have a forward handle for your left hand. This is the base plate. The adjustment for the height on the base plate is usually somewhere around the back. It's a simple lever pulling it up, and it slides up and down, locks in place. The motor is here. One of the other adjustments you can make on the skill saw is for the bevel or either angle where you lay it over. Has a little knob to release it. Has a series of angles. So you can read the angle and slide the saw. You just pull it apart and lock it back down where you want to. The little piece here on the side is for a guide that sticks in. It helps angle your cuts. You also have an upper blade guard and a lower blade guard that is retractable and springs, but it's supposed to spring back. You have the blade, you have the nut and the washer that holds the blade on, and we will talk about blades in a little bit. This Makita brand also has a little switch here on the side, and it turns on a little bitty light that comes out right down in here so you can see. And if you look down in here, when you're using these right-handed saws, when you look down the window, you need to look down from this direction, and you'll have a little window in there where you can see where the blade makes contact. So you lean over to look. The other brand that I have is made by the DeWalt company, and it's fairly similar to it. Everything is pretty much in the same position. So I show this one to you. Handle, forward grip, motor, base plate elevation for you set your depth guide, set your angle, and there's a release for it right there. They also have some notches on the front. When you're cutting with it at the 0 degree, there's the notch. And if you lay it over at an angle all the way to 45, there's your notch for starting. Like the Makita, it too has a little window. It's got a little bit more space. It does not have a light on it though. Changing the blade. There are a couple basic types of blades in the skill saw world. One is the carbide tooth blade. It's a steel blade with a little bitty teeth that are welded on the end that are made of tungsten carbide, and you can sharpen those, and they hold up very well. They're really good for cutting through metal and nails and things like that. There's another type of blade. It's been around, it's just a regular steel blade. This one's called a finish blade because it has very small little bitty teeth all the way around it. When you change the blade, most saws are the same. You will need a 1/2-inch wrench, a saw, and a blade. The wrench fits right on the nut. Somewhere around the motor, you're going to find what's called a stop. And it is on the DeWalt's, it's located right here. You hold it with your thumb or finger or however you want to, and at the same time you start spinning the blade with the wrench on the nut, and at some point in the turn, it's going to lock the motor. Because you have a motor right here, and there's a shaft that goes out, and there's always a little flat spot on the shaft. And all this little detent does is push into that little flat spot to keep the shaft from turning, and then you apply a little pressure. On the skill saws like this, it is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so you turn it counterclockwise to get it out. Open your lower blade guard, give a little wiggle. The blade comes out with the washer. You get ready, you pop a new blade in, it aligns around the little loop. This washer has a specific shape to it, and it only goes in one place and locks in and helps hold the blade to keep it from spinning. Reinstall the little nut. Hand tighten till you bring it all the way in. I'm holding the detent that's down underneath, and I'm tightening with the wrench. And snug it down pretty good. That is a skill saw. So now it's your turn. I want you to show me, make a video. You can use any one of the brands we have because they basically work the same. And I want you to describe to me all the parts of the skill saw: handle, trigger, housing, front grip, upper blade guard, lower blade guard, the base plate, the depth, and the angle or the bevel adjustments. And then I want you to demonstrate taking the blade off and narrate that the entire time I watch your video, and then upload it back to Google Classroom.